Hello and welcome ipXers. As an engineer, I'm sure there's many times where you're trawling through data sheets, user manuals, and documentation, wondering when is it ever going to end. Our guest today might just have a solution for you. We're going to be talking to Kappa AI, and they're going to walk us through on exactly why Kappa AI might just be the solution for you.
Thanks for having me here, Sandro. Yes, I'm what you would call like founding account executive with Kappa AI. I was basically the first commercial hire, and now we're a few more folks. So I've had the kind of like the pleasure from starting with kind of like our MVP product to now have a full production solution for several clients like Nokia and Silicon Labs. And basically, what we do at Kappa is that we let your documentation speak. So you're kind of moving away from search, trying to find your own answers, to now making it possible to, when you go on folks' documentation, you could just ask a question and get an answer.
So when you say talk to your documents, what exactly do you mean? And how is this different from what has been possible in the past?
Great question. So I think, since you started making technical products, there has to be some sort of user manual. There has to be some sort of way of understanding how to use the product. Today, normally goes by, having the docs available. Docs can be public facing. You can go into OpenAI's documentation by just searching the docs online, but there's also internal documentation, of course. And at the moment, up until this point, it's been very normal that you have, your classical search bar and you can search around yourself. Perhaps you might arrive from like a Google. And now in today's age, you're getting more used to kind of the conversational interaction like you would see from a chat GPT. And that's basically what we help bring into the documentation directly. So instead of searching around, you can actually ask a question directly and get an answer that's grounded in the documentation, to avoid any hallucination and actually make it much easier to attain answers.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the way I'm understanding it is it's kind of like your own personal chat GPT that works off of your own documentation, your own files that you have on your repository, and it allows you to speak to your AI assistant, the Kappa AI assistant, and then kind of have a communication between essentially what is a living representation of your documentation and yourself.
Almost. So the difference is that this is something that, for example, a client like, or a semiconductor company like Silicon Labs make available for their users. So if I go to Silicon Labs documentation or even their website, I can ask a question. So this is something that Silicon Labs makes available for their users. So it's easier to ask direct questions. And what this enables is that you ensure that the answers that you attain is grounded in the latest information. It's not an old answer found in some sort of, Stack Overflow thread in 2014. It is really grounded in the latest and greatest of the company that you're interacting with, like a Silicon Labs. There is, however, like expanding use cases of this. So now we're also seeing people like bring this into their own like IDEs, like a Claude Code. So you can download the, for example, Silicon Labs MCP and make that information available directly in your platform, in your developer platform.
That sounds quite interesting. So what kind of, let's say, scopes do you have now? Like what kind of software? Because I know you have it available on GitHub, for example, and like you mentioned, you can do this on your own repositories. But what kind of implementation are you looking at currently? And do you plan to maybe broaden your scopes or perhaps just master what you're in right now?
Yeah, great question. So there are, you could say, kind of like 3 use cases. So the first one is to make it public facing, make like a chat widget directly available in the public documentation of someone like a Nokia, Silicon Labs. Then there's a second use case, which is actually bringing this internally of the companies themselves that deliver this for their clients, because there's also, private information to be made available. So that could be, let's say I'm a solutions engineer and I need this for myself when I'm servicing my clients, but now I can also use this tool with information that's not publicly available. And then there's actually the third option, which is bringing this directly into your existing workflows. For example, let's say I'm working in Claude Code, or I'm just generally working in Claude. I can actually bring this information in via like an MCP, via downloading the public MCP of, let's say, a Silicon Labs. So within my workflow, I can actually ask questions directly to Silicon Labs documentation in my own workflow.
Okay, so you can essentially link other people's repositories to your own, and essentially broaden the scope of the AI assistant's knowledge.
Exactly. Exactly. Some might call this, adding that kind of contextual layer to AI that you need to have sufficient context that what's happening right now to deliver a much more specific solution of whatever workflow that you're working in. Sometimes it's also just ease of use. You don't have to go to the public documentation. You can just bring it directly into your IDE.
Okay, that sounds fantastic, Anton. What other plans do you have at Kappa AI for this technology going forward from today?
So we keep seeing new use cases for this, and there's different teams that wants to take use of this. There's even like a product marketing finds this interesting because it's easier to service kind of folks coming in via the, you could say, a kind of pre-sales funnel that doing their own discovery,
Yeah.
asking their own questions. So it's how can we make a solution for the product marketing team, make it easier to kind of help clients in that first stage of their product journey. There's also just helping support teams because the second order effect of this is, of course, there's a lot of support tickets that's being raised today because you simply can't find the information in the docs, so don't have the patience to find the information in the docs. So there's also servicing those needs and helping the support org to say, ensure that whatever tickets, whatever issues that they're dealing with is indeed, customer specific, and they can enrich their time by just focusing on those. And then there's you could say, also the last kind of third element, which is the product teams, the engineering teams, which is also using a tool like this for not only like internal workflows, but also seeing this as potentially a tool call as part of an in-product assistant that you actually make available, because users might have these types of questions, inside of products themselves, like inside, when you're actually working with we're working with a 3D printer company. They bring this directly into their application, their app, so users can, directly in the workflow kind of troubleshoot live with an AI. But there's also, building agents for in products sometimes need that kind of contextual layer themselves, understanding the docs first before they start taking actions.
Yes, that makes sense. So, from what I'm understanding, and I hope you go into more detail on this, is that this could also be used by engineers to help essentially streamline their workflow, spend less time sifting through the data sheets, less time sifting through old information, like what you mentioned earlier, going on Stack Overflow, finding issues with your hardware stack that happened 5 years ago. You're not sure, is this currently, is this currently
Exactly.
applicable to me? Is it not? So I'd
Yeah,
like you to expand more on that if you can.
100%. You can imagine the workflow, right? Let's say I'm doing some discovery around something I want to build, and what problem we're trying to solve for companies is not, it's not a new problem. It's, there's a reason why you have public documentation available. There's a reason why you have a search bar, right, to try to access the right information. There's even a reason why for a lot of folks in the kind of embedded industries, IoT, semiconductors, they have these product selectors even, so you can compare among their own products, right? And like, okay, what's the different kind of characteristics of this? What's the MAC temperatures of XYZ? And there's even kind of taking that workflow further, which is if I'm an engineer myself, design engineer, sometimes I need to download a lot of data sheets myself to make those kind of manual comparisons. I might even go so far to need to do this across like competitors. And at the end of the day, what you want to solve is a question. You're actually coming with a question. And if you could just immediately get an answer as if you were actually speaking to a solution engineer for that company, that is really the experience that we're delivering now.
Okay, that sounds amazing, to be honest. As an engineer myself, a lot of time spent looking at data sheets, some mistakes,
100%.
although I won't admit to any. We understand that the repositories of, these manufacturers and your own also repositories can be used by the AI assistant. But does it have any capabilities of getting information outside of that? Like, for example, you mentioned earlier of the Stack Overflows with the,
Mm.
the forums. How's the accessibility on that front?
So actually, one of the reasons why a company like a Nokia wants to make something like this available for their end user is that they can control what information they make available for the AI to use in its answers. That also means that we minimize any risk of hallucination because we know where the answer is coming from. If there's no sufficient information, we actually have a mechanism that allows Kappa to say, "Hey, I don't know," and that in return actually also delivers a feedback mechanism to understand if there's any questions being raised you don't have an answer to. That's also relevant for product teams, etc. But with that mechanism, given you have control on what sources to make available, as a company, you can then make your documentation available. You can also make, solved issues in Stack Overflow available. You actually have control on what information you make available. So that's that. Because in a solution like this, you don't always want your AI, let's say on your public facing website, to just answer anything. Like you want to have some sort of control, some strong guardrails in place. That being said, as a engineer in my own workflow, this is really where that MCP use case comes into place, right? How do I not just rely on whatever ChatGPT is throwing at me, because I know sometimes it can be wrong information, sometimes it can be good information, but not relevant anymore as something happened yesterday. So bringing this like via an MCP into your workflow, you can call this company's latest information and actually ensure what you have is the right context for whatever issue you're dealing with.
Going more into the, let's say, deployment side of things, how
Yeah.
easy is it to customize and deploy Kappa AI in your own, whether it be your own company, whether it be your own
Mm.
personal computer? How does that work? What's the scalability like? What's the, how small can the module be?
Yes.
How
Yes.
efficient is it to run? Let's talk about the specifications now.
We like to say that with Kappa you don't have to do any more hackathon graveyards, because this is a use case that many of our clients have thought about building themselves, but realize how many things you need to build to get this right. One of them being data pipelines, secure deployments, ensuring that you actually have correct and strong, correct answers and strong guardrails. That's one of the main benefits of actually delivering a solution like Kappa, because we only focus on technical use cases. We only focus on the hardest questions. But to answer directly your question, um, it's quite simple, and it is really like both something that fits all, but at the same time is like highly tailored to your use case. And the way we do it is Kappa will only answer based on the knowledge that sits available for you. So the starting point is just make that information available, and we help you do that, and we can do this within a few hours. We can do this within a few days. And then the second piece is deploying, as you said. And we have a bunch of deployments out of the box that we can set up for you. Again, within an hour. One of them being a chat widget, which is a script tag, fully customizable to your use case. You can even build on our React SDK, on our API, if you want to have something more custom. We can help you host this MCP to make that available for all your clients. And we also have, an internal facing web application where you can ask your own questions if you're actually working with this internally. So it's very straightforward to get your sources set up, get the secure deployments in place, and actually get started on something that's like entirely customized for that company.
Very interesting, very interesting. So if I understand you correctly, essentially in 1 hour I could save myself thousands of hours of cross-referencing, thousands of hours of sifting through old documentation just by taking 1 hour to deploy Kappa AI, maybe a couple more hours to add those guardrails where I want them, to customize it to my needs, and I will now have freedom to go and get engineering, do the fun stuff.
Exactly. And really the impact we're seeing is like with a company like Silicon Labs, it's now live not only on their documentation, it's also live in their community. It's live on the main website. It's really live where the users are. So this is easily accessible if I'm a user of Silicon Labs, I'm a client of Silicon Labs, or if I'm considering using the products, software, and hardware from Silicon Labs, I can ask my own questions. And with a simple script tag, you can now start servicing thousands of users.
How is it going to be on the market? Is it currently available? Are you aiming it to? Because it sounds like you're really aiming it towards the the manufacturers and the company side of things. But how is your timeline looking in terms of releasing and announcing your Kappa AI assistants?
Great question. So this is live today. Like, you can go to Silicon Labs website today and ask questions. That is powered by Kappa AI. We also work with a client like Nokia. If you go to their documentation, you can ask questions. So this is live today. Kappa started out as a Y Combinator company from the summer of 2023, I believe, and we're now growing more than ever, and now delivering the solutions to more technical clients. Even OpenAI deploys Kappa in their own Discord community, and now we realize that we can really use this powerful tool to other industries, like the embedded industries. Getting answers from PDF documentation has been extremely difficult up until this point, because it's built for humans, not for robots. And now it's actually starting to be possible to answer correct questions, or answer questions correctly, based on PDF data sheets, errata sheets, you name it. So this is really like a big leap in the productivity of the engineer, that you don't have to sift through maybe tens of data sheets and do the comparisons yourself. You can really just get an instant question, an instant answer to your question.
Thank you very much for your time, Anton. I appreciate you taking time to explain what you're doing over at Kappa AI to all the IP exchanges. And hopefully we'll be seeing you all over various repositories and data sheets in the times to come.
Thank you so much for having me, Sandro. It's been a pleasure. And excited to roll this out to more folks like yourself.
Hopefully you've learned a little bit about Kappa AI and why it might just be the solution for your documentation and repository searching. With that being said, drop a comment down below if you think you are going to be using Kappa AI in the near future.